A stone-hided brute swings to kill, a porter trips at the perfect instant, and the only witness who matters is not the monster. It is the analyst at the edge of the dark, logging him. To understand how Theo got audited, rewind 2 days, 2 mornings earlier, outside guild headquarters. We need to talk. Nadia Frost, the guild's pattern hunter, had just said the 4 words Theo Reyes had spent his entire career making sure no one would ever say to him. In a small meeting room, she laid it out, run by run. 6 gates, 6 impossible coincidences. 1 name at the back of every roster. She slid the tablet across the table and watched his face instead of the screen, and Theo gave the performance of his life. Wide eyes, a nervous laugh. "Wow," he said. "Maybe I am a good luck charm." The guild joke, flattered that anyone thought he mattered enough to track. It was airtight. He even fumbled her stylus off the table, apologized twice too often, and knocked his own coffee with his elbow, catching it. Clumsy. Harmless. Every gesture rehearsed 100 times in a cramped apartment mirror. She smiled, thanked him, and let him go. "Guess some people really are just lucky," she said. He walked out believing, for 1 warm minute, that the smartest person in the guild had just bought the dumbest story he owned. He sold it all the way out of the building, tripping on the lobby step in full view of the security cameras. Years of being the clumsy nobody, deposited 1 stumble at a time, exactly where the guild keeps its eyes. Because back at her desk, Nadia opened something new. A private file, off the guild servers, with 1 name on it. The idiot act had been flawless. That was exactly the problem. Real idiots are never that calm. She began to log. Every roster he was on. Every slipped footing, snuffed flame, lucky stumble within 50 feet of the porter. Not an accusation. A ledger. From this morning on, every coincidence that followed Theo Reyes would have an accountant, and she decided 1 more thing. Telemetry can be argued with. Eyes cannot. The next time Rank 0 walked into a gate, she would be standing inside it, watching him with her own. That night, Theo trained, because the governor on his power never sleeps. Months of secret drilling had bought him inches, a nudge that moves stones, an ember that lights oil, a green flicker that closes scratches. Inches were all he had. His real edge was never raw power. It was rehearsal. Every public stumble choreographed and drilled like a kata. Every gate floor read on entry for the 1 wet stone, the 1 cracked slab, the 1 place where a fall becomes a weapon. Later, by lamplight, the other obsession, old archived casting footage. Every mage on earth recites memorized incantations they cannot see. He sees the weave underneath. The question that kept him up at night was simple. Why only him? Why any more at all? 2 days after we need to talk, a manifest went up. D-rank gate, collapsed metro line, Garrett Voss commanding. And 1 line that turned Theo's blood cold, field auditor attached to the run. Analyst N. Frost. Director Hale had signed it without looking up. An analyst wants to audit Porter Logistics on a D-rank. Fine. Waste of a salary, he said. He had no idea he had just put the hunter and the hound in the same cage. The gate was a drowned metro line, a cavern of shattered platforms and glowing fungus. Voss lit the dark for an audience of 1. Nadia walked mid-line, and she did not watch the dark. She watched the porter understand his problem. His whole method is doing small, invisible things while nobody looks at him. Now, the 1 person built to notice small, invisible things would be looking at nothing else. Today, even bad luck had to be perfect. First contact, a chittering swarm of fist-sized tunnel burrowers. Theo dove behind the supply crates with a perfect, practiced flinch. 10 feet back, Nadia quietly noted the time. Every flawless cower was a deposit, not in his ledger, in hers. Then the floor itself stood up. A shale brute, the gate's anchor beast, stone-hided in furnace, hot at the seams, woke beneath the platform. Its first blow dropped half the ceiling and cut the ranged hunter off from the team, alone. Voss hurled fire across the gap. It washed off the stone hide like rain. The brute raised both fists over the cornered hunter, and there was no spell on that roster that could reach her in time. Except one nobody knew existed. So Theo spent the weapon he had been depositing for years, the fall. A rehearsed stumble, the spilled pack, one steel canister rolling under a launching heel onto the cracked slab he had marked at the door. And one tiny, invisible nudge. The canister skated. The heel landed. The cracked slab gave. The brute's killing blow swung itself into empty air as the floor swallowed its leg, and the cornered hunter rolled clear of fists it could no longer aim. Pinned and thrashing, the anchor beast died under the whole team's blades and Voss's fire, and Voss announced to everyone that his flames had staggered it into the floor. The team believed him, because the team always believes him. The team saw a clumsy porter and a lucky break. Nadia had not watched the monster at all. She had watched Theo the entire time and seen nothing wrong, which was, she thought, exactly what nothing wrong would be made to look like. Their eyes met for half a second across the dust. He gave her the embarrassed shrug of a man who falls over a lot. She gave him nothing at all. For the first time in his life, Theo could not read a room. They walked out at dusk. The official report: D-rank gate cleared. Anchor beast slain by squad action under Garrett Voss. One logistics mishap, no casualties. Field auditor's addendum: nothing irregular observed. Both documents were lies. Only one of them knew it. That night, Nadia ran the body cam footage frame by frame. The stumble was flawless. Weight centered, hands soft, eyes calm before the fall. People who fall by accident look surprised. He never did. She typed one line into the private file. 7. Then she pulled his awakening record. 0. Not the bottom of the scale, unreadable. And buried in the system archives, a footnote nobody cited anymore. Early measurement anomalies, casters the first scanners could not score. Pre-incantation. Weave, readers. The file got a second page. Across the city, Theo drilled in the dark and rationed harder than ever. Smaller nudges, cleaner falls, longer gaps between miracles. He had survived her audit. He was fairly sure he had not survived her attention. He told himself this was the plan working. Stay weak. Stay unseen. But hiding from a guild is a job. Hiding from one relentless pair of eyes is a life. And somewhere under the discipline, a quiet question. How long can anyone live unseen? The next morning, Hale approved a routine staffing request without reading past the first line. Analyst N. Frost, attached as standing field auditor to all gate rosters, including logistics personnel. Meaning one logistics person. Meaning every run. Theo takes, she takes too. In her private file, under the 7th entry, Nadia wrote her working hypothesis at last. Not lucky. Hidden. The most invisible man in the guild now had a permanent witness, and the saboteur's hardest game had only just begun.